Okay.
Here
Got it.
today with Coach Todd Moebes of the Lockhart Lions. How you doing today, Coach?
Good, Tony. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. One of the things we're trying to do with these interviews is kind of illustrate the different ways coaches move around and wind up where they are. So if you don't mind, walk us through your coaching history.
Sure. Well, I started off at my hometown at Katy High School as an assistant, and got the opportunity in 2007 to go be the defensive coordinator at Abilene Cooper, and so our daughter at that point in time was 6 months old and was the first grandchild, and the promotion and opportunity to go from assistant to defense coordinator, moved us 6 hours kind of northwest. So and served in that particular role for 4 years, and was hired in that role by Mike Spradlin. And when Mike Spradlin left Abilene Cooper to go to Temple in February of 2011, went through the interview process and was promoted to be the athletic coordinator and head football coach at Abilene Cooper. So, served in Abilene for 11 years. And then in March of 2019, had the chance to move down a little bit closer to family to come to Lockhart, and have been here since then. So it's been Katy High School, Abilene Cooper, and Lockhart. And the first transition was certainly for a promotion, and the next transition was to be a little bit closer to family. So that's kind of how my path has gone.
Now, you graduated from Katy, and if you don't concentrate on the defensive side of the ball, I think that means to take your class ring away.
Yes, sir. No, we're certainly well concentrated on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I think I had an opportunity to learn from the best and Gary Joseph, and got an opportunity to play for him and Mike Johnston. And then Coach Johnston was able to hire me as an assistant. And then after we won a state championship in 2003, Coach Johnston retired, and Coach Joseph got the job, was promoted. So got to serve and work directly under Coach Joseph as the head coach. And both of those men have been mentors of mine, of who I've been able to lean on, really my whole career, as well as my position coach, Kent Bruno, another great legend at Katy that's, has been on the football staff, but also in the baseball realm of things, Tom McPherson. I believe he's nearing retirement. They're still playing right now, but I believe he's in the top 5, maybe even top 3 in total baseball wins as a head coach in the state of Texas. So I've certainly, worked for some great ones. Mike Spradlin was a great one. And, the programs that he built at Abilene Cooper, taking Temple to the state championship, got into an AD role in Magnolia, and then got out of the AD role and went back to on the field, and certainly has taken Rockwall Heath into a whole nother dimension, and he's since retired as well. So I'm as blessed as anybody in the state of Texas as far as the mentors and the men that I've been around.
Now, when people looking from the outside, they see coaches as coaching their kids. However, a huge portion of it is coaching the coaches to coach the kids, and coaching the coaches to prepare them for whatever is going to be next for them in their career. So if you don't mind, talk a little bit about that role as a head coach or coordinator as mentor to coaches.
Sure. It's a role that, I take very, very seriously. It's our job to coach coaches. It's our job to make them better. Certainly being, around Mike Johnston and Gary Joseph and Mike Spradlin and Jerry Gaden and some of the coaches that I've had the great privilege of being able to work under and learn from, I believe that they helped me, get into the athletic administrative side, or, the coordinator side before that, and be very prepared, for day one of that, and so I've taken great pride in the fact of being able to, try to mentor our assistants, to be able to get them involved in decisions, that are to be made, because those coaches got me involved in those types of decisions. There's, I believe, 8 or 9 former assistants that I've had in as 10 years of being a head coach that are currently, head coaches in the state of Texas. Sterling Doty is the head coach of Stephenville. He was my offensive coordinator at Abilene Cooper. Jared Womack is the athletic director at Stephenville. He was also an offensive coordinator of mine. Jonathan Haddock is the head coach at Plainview. Danny Dudgeon's the head coach at Clyde. Aaron Dunham, I'm sorry, is the head coach at Dumas. Was on my staff when I was a defensive coordinator at Abilene Cooper. There's Kel Melton was on our staff. He's at Kingwood right now. I may be leaving a few out, but there's several that are around the state that we were lucky to be able to hire, and were as assistants. Certainly knew when we got them that they had a little different it factor about them, and that their trek to becoming coordinators or head coaches was going to be very, very quick. But hopefully, in being able to mentor them when they were assistants, maybe they took a little piece or two of some good stuff, and hopefully be able to learn from all the bad, I guess, to make their, where they're at, and their opportunities to lead programs to be successful.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Lions for 2022. You've got a good bit of talent coming back, so you have to be a bit optimistic about what the 2022 looks like.
Yes. Yeah, I think this has actually been our first off season since I've been here, and I think most true coaches that are listening to this know that. I mean, you're certainly going to win games by how your off-season program goes, and at least an off-season program that I'm comfortable with. This is our first time to be able to do it. 2 previous off seasons we've had to be able to work around some COVID stuff and everything else, and certainly those were complications for all. But being able to come in and really kind of dig your heels in and be able to establish a program, being able to have a true off season is important. And we've played 3 seasons here thus far and haven't had that. And this year, we were able to have it. And I think the confidence and gains that they've made, the athleticism that's been improved upon, it's great. So we do have a good group coming back. I mean, it certainly starts with our returning quarterback Ashton Dickens, who was a sophomore a year ago. I thought he played very, very well. There wasn't a whole lot of times where we looked back and say that was kind of a sophomore moment. I mean, even going into game 1, he looked like like he'd been there before, and I think that certainly has to do with his preparation. He's a confident young man, but he's very poised, never too high, never too low, and certainly sees himself being in the moment. So really excited about how he's matured and grown, going into his junior year. Sean McKinney is a returning running back for us for past 2 seasons, and I've certainly seen some good ones at being at Katy and Abilene Cooper, and feel that he could go to either one of those places and fit in in the backfield at either one of those schools. So we're returning quite a bit of offensive linemen that have experience. Everything starts with those guys up front, and we're pleased at some of the gains and stuff that they've made. They're really seeming to kind of gel together. We've got a couple of receivers that are returning. Nate Garcia played as a sophomore, and so looking for him to kind of have a breakout junior year. And so that's kind of where we are offensively. Do think that we've got some opportunities to be explosive, but have a consistent core group that hopefully through 2 scrimmages and going into game 1, we're kind of working on all the cylinders and getting ready for a long season. So defensively, we certainly got to get better on that side of the ball. We do have a lot of experience coming back in the secondary. Deontay Jackson is a two-way player for us. I mean, he's a returner, certainly a receiver, but he's been a starting safety for the last 3 years. He was able to play as a freshman on the varsity, and so really looking for him, even though he's had 3 good years, really for this kind of be the breakout year for him. The game's really kind of slowed down, and it should with how much experience that he has. Quavon Reese is another corner for us who'll be playing on both sides of the football, and we're real excited about how he's matured. He was also a freshman on the varsity at one point in time. Trey Brown's another secondary guy for us who played as a sophomore last year. Ended up getting an injury about the 4th or 5th game that took him out the rest of the year, but in those first 4 or 5 games, he really showed us, a lot that he'll be able to play, at a consistent level back there. So Travion Hopkins is an outside backer for us that started a year ago. He's really kind of coming into his own. Really been pleased with his growth and development over this offseason. Josh Ramos is a versatile player for us who also plays outside backer, played in the secondary some when he was a sophomore. So he gives us some versatility and some things that we're able to do and kind of makes our defense work. Inside backer wise in D line, we're really, really new. We've got some aspiring juniors that are going to be playing defensive line for us that we're really excited about. But they're going to need to get that experience here pretty quick. We've only got one guy that's really returning, and that's Derek Rivas, who played, nose guard for us the past 2 years. And through some of the ball and team times that we've been able to do during the athletic period, he's really shown that, he's grown quite a bit. So, and then inside backers, we have Zakai Gathings and a couple others that are, again, going to be new players for us, and they've got to get used to varsity competition here pretty quick.
Now you've been there at Lockhart for 3 years, so the barbecue capital of Texas. I'm not going to ask you to pick your favorite. I'm just going to ask you: when you get cut, do you bleed barbecue sauce now?
Well, a little bit, I guess. It depends upon which arm you cut me with. So I usually eat with my right. So I believe barbecue sauce with my right, and then not with my left. But no, it's certainly all good around here. And whenever somebody asks which one they want to go to, I make them pick. So it's they're all great, and certainly just. I think it really comes to the sides. It's kind of what other sides and stuff that you want or atmosphere, because they all present, different types of atmosphere, but they're all great. So, they're very supportive here. And I think their Texas Monthly's got some big barbecue thing happening in November this year. So everybody ought to travel and come check it out. Come check them out.
All right. One more question before I let you go, Coach. Can you tell me one thing about you that most people don't know?
Well, I guess most people probably don't know that I've actually sang on stage with the band. First is big shout out to my dear friend and brother Mark Powell. He's a Texas singer songwriter and graduated from Wiley High School in Abilene, Texas, and has a big Texas music festival called Outlaws and Legends at the end of March, beginning of April in Abilene. And so he and I have been very close for about 5 or 6 years. And there was he all of his efforts towards Outlaws and Legends and stuff. He raises money for the Ben Ritchie's Boys Ranch, which is in Abilene. So they were doing a fundraiser for the Ben Ritchie's Boys Ranch, and on 2 separate occasions, it's not a karaoke because there's no television screens with words, but his band has played and I've performed live with his band. So if anybody listening to this hasn't checked out Mark Powell, you need to go listen to his music because it's amazing. And if you haven't been to Outlaws and Legends, you need to go to Outlaws and Legends. It's one heck of a weekend. So, but. Yeah, guilty as charged. I've been up on stage live singing with his band before in 2 big events, and that there's probably been some smaller events that on occasion I'll just have to get up there and sing as well. So,
All right. Well, Coach, thanks very much for your time today, and best of luck with the 2022 season.
Appreciate it, Tony. Let's do it again.